and welcome back to Own Your Peace. I'm your host, Andy Thewison, and today we are diving into Capricorn season, talking about the winter solstice and how we can really use this energy to set the pace, set the tone, set the intentionality for the next year. I know a lot of people like to think into 2026 and January 1st, but this is kind of this quiet time where we can kind of go inward and really reflect on the year that has gone by, this 2025 that has been a lot for so many of us, and looking forward to what 2026 can bring in for us. So this truly is this time of stillness, a little bit of structure, and really looking at the long game. So this is such a beautiful time. Winter solstice is the turning point of the year. We've gone from the summer solstice, where the days started to get shorter and shorter. And now we are the winter solstice, where now we're promised that it will not get any darker. The light slowly returns and more light re-enters our days, which is so symbolic in so many ways. It's a quiet winter of a necessary pause, a time for us to go inward again, like I said, reflect on the year past, and again, working with this really beautiful Capricorn energy, arriving alongside that return to the light, the return to more sun in our days. It's really a time of really grounded, reflecting, reassuring. Before we talk about what's ahead, we need to honor where we are in the dark, in the pause, and in the in-between. What is the winter solstice? What is its purpose? And what does it really mean for us on that spiritual level? The winter solstice reminds us of the themes of death and rebirth. We've talked about the days will now be filled with more light and more rebirth as we work our way towards spring, keeping in mind those themes of coming alive a little bit every day. And the light returning slowly, not instantly. Every day gets a little bit, longer. We get more and more light each day. This is a time for reflection rather than action. And we feel that in some countries, this is a time of higi. I might pronounce that wrong, or higi. It's a time of comfort. It's a time of returning to really nurturing, cozying up, anchoring into stillness, of receptivity. Here's some beautiful reflection prompts to think about as we are working with this solstice energy. What is completing? What is closing out? What no longer feels aligned to carry forward into the new year? And as the light begins to slow its return, Capricorn arrives to help us decide where we're ready to build. Like I said in past episodes, 2025 was a really interesting year for so many of us, because it was the year that we finally said, no, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm not playing the sad, sacky story in my life anymore. I'm done. I'm ending this timeline, whatever it was. And for so many of us, it was different things, but we knew you were completely done with this sad, tired story that had been replaying for so many years. And it was time to move forward. In so many ways, a lot of us found ourselves in new ways this past year. And as Capricorn season builds, we have this time to really pause. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is a slow moving planet. There are some that move a little bit slower, but Saturn is a disciplinary. It wants us to do the work. It wants us to take our time. It wants us to have devotion in what we're building. It is not something that's going to be fly by night. It is going to be something that is deeply, deeply built on business, as they say, but something that really is truly going to serve us in the long term. Capricorn plays a long game. Saturn plays the long game. So anywhere that we have Saturn on our charts, or anywhere that we have Capricorn on our charts, this is something that is built with devotion, with time, because Capricorns are builders. They are here to build legacies. Capricorn rules the 10th house, which is all about public image and respectability and business and truly what we build that's going to last. And that is kind of the energy that we're working with this season. It's also a cardinal sign. It's the kickoff of the actual winter season. So, cardinal energy are the builders, they're the foundations, they get things moving for us. So, there's this kind of going to feel this urge of getting going, of starting something. Even though we have these softer winter energies where it's like we're going inward, but we're starting with the idea. We're starting with planting that seed that's going to be ready to go and start to bud in the spring when we get to that equinox. And when we get to the start of Aries season, where we're ready to go. And that's the start of the new astrological year. This is a time for long-term vision, responsibility, integrity, structure, and support, not restriction. It's moving away from hustle narratives and really truly honoring our deep intuition. I think sometimes Capricorns get a bad rap for being just business, where truly they are very intuitive. They're a sister sign to Cancer. I'm not going to count you out, Capricorns. You know how to build, but from a deeply intuitive, internally guided way. So let's tap into that side of Capricorn where we're able to use this time as a reflection. What do I want to build this next year? What do I want to create for myself? Am I going to do different this year? And really have this reframe of from discipline, because sometimes Capricorn, because it's tied to Saturn, has this really deeply, disciplined, disciplinarian energy, but flipping that to devotion. I'm not doing this out of discipline. I'm doing this out of devotion because when I do these things, I'm devoted to myself. I'm devoted to my growth. I'm devoted to what I'm building. It's not about discipline. It's about I'm devoted to my goals. I'm devoted to what I'm creating. See how that just feels different? Even like when you're feeling into that energy, it just feels different. It hits different. And it's not about commitment. Again, that's a very much a Saturn energy, but commitment as self-trust. Trusting the intuitive hits that you're getting, those aha moments that you've been receiving through this winter solstice portal. We had Sag season, that's fire and big ideas. And really, the most magical time of the year is the Sag energy. It's ruled by Jupiter, it's expansion, it's growth, a lot of fire energy. Capricorn's an earth, it's grounded, it's taking things slow, it's really building it in, and it's anchoring these things in. So we take that energy, that fire energy of Sagittarius, where magic really truly was unlocking for us with Jupiter there, and moving it into really grounded devotion, self-trust, grounded action. So it's literally anchoring in those big ideas that came to us during Sagittarius season. And that's how this energy works. It depends on a lot of how we're designed to use our energy. So turning now to human design perspective on Capricorn season, how can you as a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, a reflector, a manifester use this really grounded energy of Capricorn? So for my generators, lean into joy. A lot of times we think because we're building a business or because we're building something that is going to last, that take the fun out of it. This is about being serious and building something. But absolutely, that is not the case for you generators. The more joy you can bring, the more play, the more creativity that you can weave into what you're building, the faster that goes because you're at a higher vibration. When we're in these lower densities, it's harder to get those really big ideas because you're so worried, you're so frustrated because it's not where it needs to be yet. But when you're able to kind of rise above it and be in play, be in creativity, be in your pure joy, your pure magnetism, things move faster. So really anchoring in joy and adding joy and play to your devoted practices during Capricorn season. For my manifesting generators, you guys are the masters of pivoting. But what can happen is because you've been told that you are so multifaceted, sometimes your energy can get scattered. What you're really meant to do that's a little bit different than kind of maybe what you thought about for yourself as a manifesting generator is that you're meant to be interested in lots of things, and that's absolutely correct. But what you're able to do and what's really magical about you is you're able to pull all that life force energy into your current interests and put a lot of devotion and really deep commitment into what you're building at that moment. So, what are you interested in right now, manifesting generator? Pull all that energy in, pull it back from where you're scattered into what you deeply want to focus on creating right now. And then pivot once that creation is planted and is ready and is able, and you're in a position to then pivot. So that's something I felt like you really needed to hear right now during this Capricorn portal, if you will. Now, manifestors, this is a really good time for you to sit, clarifying your long-term initiatives and leadership direction. You are meant to be this bold, provocative leader. What does that look like for you? What does that feel like in your body? What message are you feeling urged into moving forward with and leading with? Sit with that. Okay, now my beautiful projectors, my fellow projectors, this is a really great time for you to focus on refinement, system building, and honoring your rest. So for a projector, having really deeply supportive systems to help you support your goals is so helpful. Because again, for us, it's about working smarter, not harder, and allowing us to have systems that support us so that we can be putting our full energy, our full focus into what we're seeing, so that we're showing up more in the work that we're called to do. Because every projector sees something different. Every projector is meant to focus on something different. So having those systems of support so that you can fully be vested in what you're seeing, what you're feeling called to share, and your deeply divine perspective that you're here to share. And when I have those systems of support, it helps me to show up in this podcast and give my unique perspective, share the way that I see my world, because I'm doing those things and I have those systems of support that help me to do that in a really beautiful way. And really, no surprise here, honoring our rest. This time can be really busy. We've got Christmas, we've got the start of the new year. It can feel like a lot, especially for projectors. So finding pockets of time, and I'm going to say line twos here. I know this is kind of out of the blue, but I feel like this needs to be included here. Is line twos also need that deep time alone from being on all the time? Or if you are just a person who really values alone time, because I know there's so many placements that really call to this, honoring that and not feeling like you have to explain yourself because you need to have a break of alone time. So honor it, find time for it. You don't need to explain yourself. Just honor that that's something that is going to help you show up more when you are in more public settings. I just felt like we needed to add that in there. Okay, now we're reflectors. So this is such a time for you to observe the winter season right now, observing the environments, noticing what structures are feeling supportive to you. Are you feeling called to go into that time of deep hibernation, deep inner winter, where you're really pulling back? Your energy is a little bit lower maybe right now. Honoring that, finding for yourself ways that you feel supported, environments that feel supportive to you, that feel nurturing during this time of winter for you. So finding that space for you. Capricorn doesn't just show up in our energy, but it also shows up in specific areas of our life. And that's all dependent on our rising sign. Because remember, we have that whole wheel that gets activated. And as that sun moves around, it activates a different part of our lives. And so I'll go through each of the rising signs and help you understand what might be illuminating for you during the solar cycle through the Capricorn part of your chart. So for my Aries rising, this is the 10th house that's being activated. This is your career, your public life. You might be called to make some changes in your business or the way that you're showing up in the public persona. Taurus rising, this is the 9th house for you. So it's all about beliefs and purpose and that higher mindset. Also travel even. So that's kind of a fun thing right now for you. And then Gemini rising, it's all about shared resources and trust. It's that 8th house. It's that death and rebirth. Maybe you're shedding layers right now. Moving on to my Cancer rising. This is all about relationships and boundaries for you. That 7th house is being activated. And when I say relationships, I also mean business partnerships, friendships, all ships are involved with that 7th house. So looking at those, which ones are serving you? Which ones are not? Maybe you need to be doing an edit of what systems and friendships are not, giving you space. Now, moving on to my Leo risings. This is all about health and daily rhythms for you, adding that structure there with that sixth house being activated for you. Now, moving on to my Virgo risings. This is the fifth house for you. So, this is all about creativity and self expression. This is finding ways to structure your joy. And I say that because Capricorn in the fifth house could probably feel a little conflicted about play and fun. Capricorn likes to get the job done, it likes to build things. Play is something that happens after the work is done. So here, structure in your play, structure in your fun. Find space for it. Make it a daily practice, a daily devotion to have room for play and fun in your life. Okay, now moving on to Libra risings. It's that fourth house, so it's all about home and emotional foundations, anchoring in structures that make home feel like a safe space for you. Okay, now for my Scorpio risings, it's that third house, so it's all about communication and your mindset. Maybe you're really looking at some limiting beliefs and maybe how to clear them out and let go of those spirals that you might be getting caught in. How can I kick them to the curb and create a new spiral? Okay, and now moving on to my Sag risings, my fellow Sag risings, it's all about our money and our values. It's that second house. It's that house that is tied to our money story. How can we create healthy structures to create more foundational financial health for ourselves? And even creating structures that help build us up and our self worth as well. Maybe it's doing daily devotions of affirmations to really build up that self belief back in yourself. Those are all things that can be very deeply helpful this time of year. All right, now Capricorn risings, it's your first house. So it's all about identity and leadership. It's your outward facing persona. I always like to say when it's your rising season, it's all about you, boo. All right, now moving on to my Aquarius risings, it's really that rest and inner work. It's that subconscious mind play. It's the 12th house. Maybe what are you seeing that you haven't seen yet within yourself? A lot of things in the 12th house are hidden even from ourselves. So maybe there's something that you have maybe been a little delusional about or haven't seen for yourself, or it's been unclear is probably the better way to say that. With Capricorn there's going to be some clarity with some things. So allow yourself to have time to do the inner work, to rest, and have those things may become illuminated for you. All right, and for my Pisces rising, this is all about community. It's about future vision. It's about big goals. And so with Capricorn here, find ways to really anchor in structures and devotional practices that help you work towards that big life goal that you have for yourself. That will be deeply supportive for you right now. So, how do we work with all this in a way that feels good, grounded, and realistic? So, let's talk about some fun integration practices for the solstice and for this Capricorn season. These are going to be simple, tangible supports that you can anchor into your experience. There are some really beautiful solstice candle rituals where you're releasing and setting an intention for the new year. Those are a really beautiful way to do this. This is a really good time for long range visioning. Capricorn loves the long term. It loves building for the future. And if you're a man-gen or have a lot of Gemini energy or just really have a hard time thinking beyond, a year even, do what you can. Plan out 6 months, plan out the next month, plan out 3 to 5 years, depending on how you're built. All of us are built so different. Some of us have a really hard time with that long range thing. But maybe instead of like feeling like you have to have it all figured out, because none of us really do have to figure it out. If the more that we let go of that let go of that control and manipulation of universal intelligence, because we feel like we have it all figured out, really think about, how do I want to feel? How do I want to embody the next 3 to 5 years? Do I want to have more peace? Do I want to have more, fun and play? Be more into the feelings-based intentionality for the next 3 to 5 years, as opposed to like that solid, old school business plan. I really feel like those business plans just need to be ripped up and thrown out the window, because they're holding you back, because they're keeping you from your creative co-creation with the universe, who wants to have you able to pivot and turn as things grow and as you evolve, and really trusting that you only need to know your next step. And that's all you need to know. And then you trust the next step. And that's when we get into really cool magic because we're in that more of a co-creative process versus feeling like we have to have it all figured out. Again, remember, we need to only worry about what we want. We don't have to worry about the how. That's a good thing to remember as we're doing this long-term vision, because sometimes Capricorn season can get us really like, I'm going to have this all planned out, and really just kind of more like embodiment of what you want to create for yourself. Figure out the what, don't figure out the how. This is a really great time for creating a really gentle, nurturing structure for this winter. Maybe you're making more yummy, delicious soups. Maybe you're having slower mornings, cozier blankets around the house, building fires. Have a beautiful, gentle winter structure for yourself. This is a really great time to build altars. And remember, altars are just things that remind you of an intention. Journaling, symbolic acts of, closing out the old year, closing out old versions of yourself and walking into a new version of yourself. Even if you get some new clothes and the intentionality is like, when I wear these new clothes, these are a symbol of who I'm going to embody when I wear them. Or change your hair, change something about yourself to embody as a symbolic act of who you want to become in the new year. So those are some fun things to play with this time of year. These are all permission based, not prescriptive. If any of these feel like, ooh, I love that one, play with it and then let the rest go. This season isn't asking for certainty, it's asking for commitment to what feels true to you. And as we wrap up this episode, I hope you had some aha moments of ways that you can really use this energy to set a beautiful tone, a beautiful intentionality for the year ahead. Remember, as we move through the season, moving slowly is a line. Momentum builds quietly. Trusting the long game, trusting what we can't see as we move forward, and really trusting that I've set the tone, I've set the attention, I've set out on who I want to create and become this next year. And I don't need to know the how. I just know the what and the feeling of what I want to create for myself. You don't need to see the whole path. Just be ready for the next step. It would be really fun to come back and revisit the journaling you did and the prompts and what your feelings have been through this winter solstice. Revisit those at the summer solstice and see how much you've evolved, how much you've grown over the past 6 months. This is a deep time for journaling and reflection. Just sit with this episode and write out your aha moments. What stood out to you? What really felt and landed for you to tap into this time of year. I'm so excited for what this next year is going to bring. It's going to be such a beautiful time. I'm so excited looking at the astrology, the energetics behind the numerology and the Chinese astrology. It's all kind of lining up to be a deep year of embodiment. I've got some really beautiful guests coming into the new year. I'm so excited where we're going. I also wanted to note as we're closing out this, and this is a really great time to be doing this during the Capricorn season, is I open my books for my signature 2026 look ahead appointment. So what I do within those look ahead appointments is we go over your personal astrology for the next year. I look at your numerology for the year ahead. I look at your personal Chinese astrology for the year ahead. And then I look over actual astrology. What transits are you going to be experiencing for this next year? And then I go another level deeper and I do a tarot energetic reading for you, where we tap into the energy and themes that you'll be experiencing for the year ahead. So this is about an hour and a half appointment, hour and a half, depending on how chatty we are. And I do enjoy chatting and really helping you understand this energy for the year ahead. Those are now open. I only do those in January. So if you want to have that opportunity to sit down with me and really dive deep on what you can experience for the year ahead, those are a magical opportunity to sit down with me for an hour and a half as we dive into it all and really set some really strong intentions based on the energy you're experiencing, what's going to be activating for you for this next year. So I invite you to those. I only do these in January, then I shut them off again. So if you want to do that, get in on that. Much love, and I will see you next week.